Hi friends, happy Tuesday. We have a few more days left and then the big day we can party at the graduation. I'm going to read again to you Treasury of Classic Stories. And today I chose The Ugly Duckling. It was a beautiful summer's day and the sun shone over the meadow. Down among the long grasses near the edge of the brook, a mother duck quacked happily to herself. She was sitting patiently on her nest, waiting for her eggs to hatch. Remember when the hen did that? She waited, and then crack, crack, crack. One by one they started to hatch. Soon the mother duck was surrounded by a brood of beautiful, fluffy ducklings. Peep, peep, they quacked. They were very pleased to see their mother. At last, Mother Duck stood up to check that they all had the right number of wings and webbed feet, and then quacked in dismay. The biggest eggs still hadn't hatched. Mother Duck settled back on the nest and waited patiently. She waited and waited, but nothing happened. Then she waited a bit more, and still nothing happened. "I'd leave it if I were you," said a passing duck, nosily. "Those big ones really hatch. You're wasting your time." But the duck refused to listen. She sat on her nest and waited and waited. She waited for a very long time. Then finally there was an enormous crack. And out tumbled the biggest, ugliest duckling you can possibly imagine. Aww. See that? Poor ducky. That afternoon, Mother Duck took her new family for a swimming lesson. "Quack, quack," she called as she splashed into the water. "Follow me." Plop, 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 plop. One by one the ducklings jumped in after her, even the big, ugly duckling, who made quite a splash. Soon all of them were swimming beautifully, and the big, ugly duckling swam best of all. The following morning, Mother Duck washed and groomed all her ducklings, and then took them to the farmland. "Don't stray from my side," she told the ducklings, "and whatever you do, please be polite to the big duck sitting on the island in the middle of the pond. She's the oldest and most important duck in the yard." The farmland was a very big and scary place. Hens scratched around in the dirt, a cat waited to pounce, and big ducks looked down their beaks as the ducklings waddled by. "My, what beautiful ducklings," said the old duck kindly. "All except that big ugly one," laughed another duck. All the other ducks turned and stared at the ugly duckling. Soon they were all laughing at him, even the oldest and most important duck. That is so sad. I hope my friends wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. Mother Duck and her ducklings settled down to their new life in the farmyard. All of them were very happy except for the ugly duckling. He was sad because all the other farm animals laughed whenever they saw him. So one day the ugly duckling decided to run away from the farmyard. Oh no! He didn't stop until he reached a marsh where wild ducks live. But when the wild ducks saw him, they laughed and laughed. So the ugly duckling ran on. He ran over fields and meadows until he reached a rickety old house. The door had a hole in it, so the ugly duckling slipped in. An old woman lived inside the house with her cat in her hand. She didn't have much, but she was happy because the cat purred so nicely and the hen laid her eggs. "Oh, goody," cried the old woman when she saw the duckling. "Now I shall have duck eggs." But of course the ugly duckling didn't lay any eggs, so the hen and the cat chased him away. The ugly duckling returned to the marsh where he was alone once more. Poor ugly duckling. Nobody likes him. Fall arrived and the leaves fell from the trees. Then winter came and cold wind blew snowflakes across the marsh. One evening a flock of beautiful white birds with long graceful necks flew over the marsh. They were swans. "I wish I could fly with them," whispered the ugly duckling. The winter grew colder and colder. The ugly duckling had to swim in circles to stop the water from freezing over. Aww. Then, one night he fell asleep, and when he awoke, he was stuck fast in the ice. Luckily for him, a passing farmer rescued him and took him home to his warm house. Oh, he froze in the ice. The poor ugly duckling. When the ugly duckling had warmed up and was feeling much better, the farmer's children tried to play with him. But the ugly duckling was so scared by their excited shrieks that he flapped away in terror. In his rush, he knocked over a churn of milk. The angry farmer's wife clapped her hands and he flapped into a sack of flour. The farmer's wife screamed, the children laughed and tried to catch him. The terrified duckling could take no more and fled. The poor, sad duckling returned to the frozen marsh, and there he remained throughout the long, harsh winter. Then, one morning, he awoke to a warm, golden sun. As he stretched out to warm his feathers, he heard the sweet call of a cuckoo. Cuckoo. Spring had arrived. The ugly duckling spread out his wings and flew high into the air. He flew to a large garden where willow trees dipped their long branches into a smooth pond. On the pond swam 3 beautiful white birds with long, graceful necks. It was the swans he had first seen so long ago. So the swans went back. The ugly duckling was so lonely that he decided to go and say hello. "They will send me away for being so ugly, but I don't care," he said to himself. And so he landed by the pond and bent his head as he waited for the swans to chase him away. But when he saw his reflection in the smooth water, he gasped out loud. For you see, he was no longer an ugly gray duckling. Instead, he was a beautiful white swan. "Come join us," called the youngest swan. "Yes, please do," added the others. And they all swam around the ugly duckling, admiring his feathers and graceful arched neck. "You really are the most beautiful swan of all," decided the oldest swan. The ugly duckling ruffled his feathers with joy. Finally, he felt he belonged, and he was happy at last. Oh, so see? He was ugly, but then he turned into a beautiful swan. Not too bad. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.